And Jason Newstead, the past is where it's supposed to be.
Yeah. I like that.
And from our very own Kathleen, I now release the need to live by the supposed to be philosophy. I now embrace the power of love. Woo. Okay, you ready?
I think you can just get it from the quotes. I can sit down, right? No. Welcome to part 4 of Release and Embrace. For those of you who have not been here for parts 1, 2, or 3, and for those of you who have been who don't remember, because that does happen to all of us, trust me. Release and Embrace came to me after I was starting to read through the Lenten booklet from Unity Worldwide Ministries, and their theme this year for Lent was Fast and Feast. And I decided that I wanted to take it one step further. I wanted to take it up a notch, so to speak. Amp it up, as Paul Hasselbeck would say. Amp it up, Kathleen, amp it up. So what I decided was that fasting seemed a little bit temporary to me. We all, or some of us, not all of us necessarily, but some of us will remember when we were little, if we observed the season of Lent, there was something we needed to sacrifice. Yes, mine was usually chocolate or bubble gum. And I remember on Easter Sunday morning that I could not wait to eat the chocolate Easter bunny ears. Right? So fasting to me indicates a temporary thing. Whatever I give up, I can go back to on Easter Sunday morning. I can't wait. Because what the Lenten booklet was talking about was fasting on things like anger, jealousy,
Judgment.
thank you. Things like that. You know, those negative things. So I don't want those to come back on Easter Sunday morning. That would make a horrible Sunday message for you next week, wouldn't it? So I thought, maybe we need to release instead of fast. Because once I release it like a balloon, it goes up in the air and I don't know where it ends up. It's gone. Right? And I don't have the opportunity or the temptation to try and reach up and grab it and bring it back down again. And then I moved into the feast part of it. I'm all about food. I don't know about you. We're having a potluck later, so we're all going to be about the food later on today. But for me, eventually a feast goes away. Eventually the plates are emptied. Even if I go to an all-you-can-eat restaurant, they're not going to let me stay there 3 days straight. They're just not. I've never asked, but I don't think they're going to let me. So, again, it's a temporary thing, and I'm looking to make this more permanent. If I'm going to do this, if I'm going to do this work, right, because this is work, if I'm going to release things like anger, judgment, jealousy, then I'm going to want to hold on to the reward as well. So I'm going to embrace it. It's going to be a part of who I am. It's going to be the way I live. All right, you with me?
Yes.
Okay. So that's where we started with all of this. And this week was the week that I had this idea come to me. I don't know when it was. It was around 2 or 3 in the morning, whatever day it was. But here's what was going on with me. I was getting a little bit stuck in a couple of ideas surrounding me and my life and where I am supposed to be at the age of 50-something. Where did I imagine that I was going to be at this age? And where am I now? This was not exactly what I imagined. I did not imagine that I am 58 years old. I will be 59 this year. So at this age, it did not occur to me that I would still be in school facing 2.5 more years of a master's degree program. It did not occur to me that I would be living up north, for crying out loud. It did not occur to me that I would be living in one state about an hour away from my family and working in another state about an hour and 15 minutes away. It didn't occur to me that I would have the energy to be doing half of the stuff that I'm doing. But it also never occurred to me that I would have as many blessings as I have right now. It never occurred to me that I would be happier in this situation than if I had the houses and the husband and the cars and the summer home and the winter home and all of that other stuff. That never occurred to me either. So I'm ready to release the supposed to be philosophy. I'm done with it, right? What philosophies, you don't have to answer this out loud, just think to yourself, what philosophies have you been following lately in your life that maybe are not serving you the way they could? And maybe you could consider releasing that and opening up to a new way of living. You know, for instance, like opening up to living in the present moment. You know, where everything happens. We know this, right? Everything happens in the present moment. So maybe we can get rid of those old ideas. Maybe we can get rid of that. That's why I have a confession to make. I'm going to tell on myself. I sat here just a few minutes before the service started, and I turned to Dimitri, Iris, and Arlene and said, I have absolutely no idea why I picked the Daily Word from September 19th of 2003. And that's a terrible feeling to have, because you know it's a part of your talk, and you just don't know where you're going with it. And then I heard immediately, I heard immediately that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, was part of the reading itself. And that's where I got it from, because I had searched for supposed to be, and that's how it came up, right? I'm trying to get the daily word from the past, but messages that resonate with the lesson that I'm trying to present, or the talk I'm giving, whatever you want to call it. I'm not really teaching up here, I'm just sharing, right? So anyway, I confessed that to them, and then I heard you read it, so thank you, because it jogged my memory, supposed to be. And that's why those quotes came. Those were a little different today, right? They weren't quite as spiritual as they can be. Tyler Perry, statistics say I'm supposed to be in jail and I'm not supposed to be alive. And yet, look at what he's doing. You know, even if I'm not that familiar with his work, but I know he's out there and he's putting a lot of stuff out there, and people like him, and they're resonating with whatever work it is that he's doing. But the bottom line is, the statistics show he shouldn't be around. Right? Defying the odds. Believing in himself is probably part of that equation, would you think? Right? Do you believe in yourself? Don't answer that out loud. Answer to yourself. Samuel Barber, I was supposed to be a doctor, I was supposed to go to Princeton, and everything I was supposed to do, I didn't. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. We don't need that anyway. We'll see what happens. Everything I was supposed to do, I didn't. Do you have someone like that in your life? Were you that someone in your life? Right? I have a cousin who was like that. She would just do the exact opposite, just because. Right? And then she would get me in trouble for it. It was a challenging time. Challenging time. I'm ready to release that philosophy of supposed to be. There is no such thing anymore. Whatever I think society is telling me doesn't happen. whatever society is telling me, I don't have to buy into it anymore. Right? That's the key. Am I buying into what I'm being told? And if not, what am I going to replace it with? So wherever I may be today, according to that daily word, wherever I might be today or any day, God's presence is with me. I'm safe. That's a big word for me. I have some history of violence in my past when I was younger. And it went on for several years. And so safety to me is a big deal. Right? And so that was part of the message of the daily word as well, is that I am always safe, regardless of what's happening around me, because the God presence, that Christ presence, is within me. It's not going anywhere. So no matter what I'm facing, I can pray and call forth that power of courage to face up to whatever I'm facing. I can call forth the power of divine love, which we're going to meditate on with Mary in a little while. I can call that forth because that's my true nature, is divine love. That is your true nature, divine love. Whether you're feeling it on any particular day is a different story, but it doesn't change the fact that the nature is of divine love. I say the nature because we're all connected. So it's not your nature and then my nature and then their nature. It's not. It's the nature. Divine love. Now I invite you to think about what would your life look like if you were living it day by day from a consciousness of divine love nature. What would it look like? It might look like you paying for someone's cup of coffee in line at Dunkin' Donuts and then not knowing about it. Here's the key. When we do things like that, when we reach out and we want to do something good, the trick is that you can't be found out. Because if you're found out, then it kind of, it lessens the benefits, right? It's got to be in secret. Yeah. I like to do it for strangers once in a while. I don't do it all the time, but I like to do it for strangers so that, and I like to do it in the drive-through of Dunkin' Donuts. I usually stop at Dunkin' Donuts on my way here on Sunday mornings because I need that cup of coffee for that drive over here so early on a Sunday morning. And I like to do it through the drive-through so that they can't catch me. Right? And then they're like, who is that lady? Who's that white woman that just bought me a cup of coffee? What's going on with that? Right? I love that. I love just being able to do that. That might be what divine love looks like. It might be you calling a relative who you know is struggling with something, who you know you cannot fix, and you just listen. It could be at work, dealing with that one difficult coworker who never does things the way you want them to, and letting them do it that way. And then helping them when you have to bail them out. All of these are examples of what divine love could look like. Right? It doesn't have to be some grandiose, worldly thing that affects millions of people, no. It just needs to affect the people that you come in contact with, because what happens is, and we talked about this in the book study yesterday morning, was there is a ripple effect. It's like dropping that pebble in the pond and then watching the ripples go out. You are affecting people you have no idea you're even affecting. That's what living from divine love is all about. The scripture from that daily word was from Psalm chapter 4, verse 8. I will both lie down and sleep in peace. For you alone, O Lord, make me lie down in safety. Do you know what that means to someone like me who grew up and had some experiences of violence in their life? Yeah. It's more than powerful. It's empowering. Okay? It gives me the ability to know that I am coming from a completely different place now. We've all had experiences. I don't think there is one person in here who hasn't had some experience of fright, or maybe you've experienced violence, or maybe you know of someone who has experienced violence. Right? This is a scary world that appears to us right now. But I am going to come from this place here. I'm going to take care of myself. I am not saying I'm walking through, tiptoeing through the tulips. Who remembers Tiny Tim? Holy cow, am I showing my age now? I'm not tiptoeing through the tulips, okay? I'm not. But what I am doing is I am going to use this because this works for me. When I remember the absolute truth of my being, when I remember that my true nature is divine love, it goes for everybody. It doesn't matter what faith a person identifies with. I still believe that we all come from that place of divine love. I am safe and secure in God's all-powerful presence. And I will repeat for those of you who haven't been here long, God is not a being up in the sky that we believe we pray to and ask for favors and, they let my team win the football game or win the NASCAR race or whatever. There's no NASCAR race today, I'm disappointed. If you don't know me, I will tell you that I'm a sports fanatic, so. It's not about that. It's not about praying to a God outside of ourselves. It's about praying to that entity, that energy that is within us that we call forth, and we just live from that place, live from that consciousness, and we make fantastic progress that way. I am ready to release the supposed to be philosophy. Will you join me? We let go of that? Doesn't matter where we were supposed to be. We're in a much better place right now. Because we've got these tools. We're coming here, we're learning about it, we're talking about it. If we're not coming here on a Sunday morning, we might be participating in Arlene's class on a Tuesday night. Spirituality of Age, and she meets here and on Zoom at the same time. So if you can't physically be here, you can use the Zoom link and tune in. Or Wednesday nights, I started a healing and wholeness class on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. via Zoom only. We are not in the church. I'm in Hartford, so I'm facilitating via Zoom. And again, you can tune in there. It's not always going to be on a Sunday morning because of schedules, etc. But we're offering other alternatives so that you can tune in and be reminded. Because boy, that human component plays a big part in my life. That humanness wants to creep through every time I turn around and I start to feel peaceful, and then somebody does something that just goes against my script. If they would just do what I said, and if they would just follow my suggestions, everything would be perfect. Not really. But that's not how it works, right? So I'm ready to release that. I'm ready to embrace divine love. Might as well. We've got it anyway. It's there. That's our nature. So why not embrace it and see what that looks like? That sounds so exciting. I can't wait to send you off so you can go do this thing. Because it's going to look different for each one of us. And yet, it's going to have the same effect on many, many, many people. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Yes. So it is. Amen.
Amen.
Very good. As we sit here, if you feel comfortable, close your eyes. Take anything off your lap. Sit in your chair and just relax. Let your chair hold you. And affirm to yourself, I am a radiating center of love. Love is the ability to attract, unify, and desire. The disciple is John, and he represents unconditional acceptance and forgiveness. The corresponding color is pink, and its location is the back of the heart. Love is the most universally recognized and most frequently misinterpreted of the 12 powers. It is a part of life and living, and without love, people perish. When Jesus prayed the prayer of atonement with his disciples, as reported so beautifully in John, he was calling attention to the ultimate activity of love, the spiritual oneness that pervades everything in the universe. Love is. Love continues to be, just as the sun continues to shine, whether or not we know it's there, whether or not we can see it, and whether or not we believe in it. The love center of the body is the heart. And as the heart circulates life-giving blood throughout the body, so a right concept of love circulates life-giving sustenance through our thinking, feeling nature, as well as through our body and affairs. Development of the God consciousness of oneness enriches all phases of the life that it enters. The faculties of love, centered in the heart, and wisdom, from its seat at the pit of the stomach, meet in the solar plexus at the back of the heart and the stomach. In considering the unfoldment of love, we must make sure that we link it always to wisdom. Wisdom and love are not only two of the 12 powers, but they're also the two phases of God that combine to produce creative activity of any kind. Love without wisdom has a tendency to be blind, easily misled, foolish in its actions. On the other hand, wisdom without love may be harsh and cold and unfeeling in its activity. Linked in the mind of God, working from pure knowing and the ultimate oneness, they produce the perfect ideas in the mind and for manifestation. It is love that looks past appearances to behold the truth of being. It is love that enables us to live in harmony with all of our universe. It is love that heals, prospers, attracts, holds, and makes real the good ideas. And divine love is the greatest power for protection in the universe. It's not necessary for us to like all that we see in our world. We do not have to agree with wrong things that people do. But regardless of appearances, we must love the Christ or God in all persons and all things. We must, because it's our nature. And because he loved us first. So bring your attention to the middle of your head, specifically the pineal gland, which is the center for faculty and faith. And just affirm that I have faith in God, so that when I say to a mountainous challenge, be removed, I have no doubt that which I say is done. Next, move your attention to the center of the small of your back, just below your ribs. in your strength faculty, I am strong. Next, move your attention to your solar plexus, the space of wisdom. And affirm, I am in tune with the infinite wisdom of the universal mind. Now bring your focal point to your heart. And affirm that the Christ in me is quickening my love. I am a radiating center of pure love, mighty to attract any good and to radiate good to others. Now remember that love and wisdom go together as a powerhouse of thunder. Gratefully acknowledge that they are quickened in you. Now gently begin to move your fingers a little bit and loosen your shoulders as you come back into the room here. And as you affirm the love of God enfolds you, you come back into the room. Open your eyes, and as you look around the room, know that you are a radiating center of love. So it is.